Hello, welcome to Infinite Prattle, and welcome to another episode. Today's episode is going to be about what is a representation of being successful nowadays, and what is that to you? So stay with me.
Hello and welcome to
Infinite Prattle!
unscripted, unedited prattle on everything, hosted by me, Stephen. Listen, like, share and subscribe, and enjoy the show.
Welcome back to episode 5.23 in the new format. Well, it's not a new format anymore. I've been doing this for the entire series, and I've pretty much swapped all my old episodes out for this format as well. So, welcome though. And how are you? If it's your first episode with me, then welcome. And if it's not, then, welcome anyway. So today's episode, I just wanted to go through some thoughts really about what represents success in life in this journey we go through. And what does that mean to you and other people? And do you need, do you feel like you do it for respect? Do you do it for yourself? Do you do it for that appreciation from others? So I have a few themes today. So how this comes about is mainly because I've always I've never really known what to do with my life really. Kind of. I don't know. My mental state has always given me multiple paths to go down, and I'm quite lucky. And I don't want this to come across as cocky or big headed or anything like that. But I'm not a stupid guy. I'm quite clever. In some aspects more than others, like everyone is. But I think I have quite a rounded intelligence. I can hold my own, I think, with many types of people. And I don't know if that was because the way I was brought up and my kind of social stature. I don't know. I lived in an area when I was growing up of in between like a nice area and a bad area. So I had mates or people I knew, should I say, really, um, that were from rougher places. I could integrate with them as well as integrate from the people from the nicer areas, as well as the people that were from the place I was from. And I feel like I've always been able to metamorphosis into this. I don't want to say character, but I can basically get along with anyone really, and hold a conversation to a good level. I would say don't really like politics. That's probably where I'm weakest on, but general history I'm not too bad on. Um, don't ask me detailed questions. Obviously, I'm a generalist, but I have wide spanning knowledge. I would say, but I also like to listen and contribute as well. So I think I'm quite a reasonable conversationalist. Or I try to be at least. Anyway, I know sometimes I can talk too much. Hence, I started this podcast to try and get some of it out. But I do love to listen to people's stories. So if you ever having a conversation with me and I'm ranting on about something, just tell me to wind my neck in. Not here though, because this is the whole idea of this podcast. This is prattle. This is infinite prattle, forever ramblings. But yeah, for me that was I think that's kind of how I've always been, and because of that, it's given me a lot of opportunity. I think in what my thinking of a career could be, if that makes sense. So, not a stupid person, fits in with lots of people, and saw a lot of life. And in my early kind of career on the railway, because that's where I work now, and it's kind of become a career and not meant to be. But it's where I sit now in the rail industry, and I started that as a kind of a temporary job, but kind of fell into it. And my planned career path was the army, and that's really the only thing I've ever really, 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 really wanted to do, apart from maybe be a rock star musician. But yeah, I think the whole army thing, and there's another episode, a couple of series back, I think it might be series 3, series 2 maybe, when I talked briefly about my escapades with failing to join the army. There's a reason behind it, but then I joined the railway, and money starts coming in, and then you know kind of the world beats your dreams out of you. I know that sounds terrible and stereotypical, and but life just keeps going and flowing, and it doesn't wait for you. I mean, if I could go back, I don't really regret anything, but if I could go back and maybe kick myself up the arse a bit, I think that I may have pursued other areas of life. And I'm not old; I can still do that. I am trying to, but I think I'd have started other things and maybe progressed them a little bit, or at least kept up the general level I was on for things. So my music slipped away a little bit because I let people tell me what to do a little bit and beat me down. So it kind of took a sideline, and the same with writing and stuff like that. I think people get the impression of me that I'm very, very confident, and I'm not. I am to a point, but like most people, I have doubts and fears, and if you tell me something often enough that it probably won't happen, then I'm probably going to believe you at some point. Um, yeah, but life gets in the way, doesn't it? You want to do all these things, and I really appreciate people that really go for what they want, and they have an idea, and they follow it, and they chase it up, and everything takes money and time and effort, and when you're doing 12-hour shifts and you're paying for everything, you're managing a house and stuff, you know, having that extra bit of oomph is hard to find sometimes. Um, but anyway, what's this got to do with what's a good pointer of success? Um, I've not become a millionaire. I've not really done the things I was hoping to. I'm 41. I've done a lot of things though, and I'm always. I think maybe part of the issue with me is I can always see the optimistic side, which is a really really good thing. But it also is bad because I can talk myself out of being in a rut, and that rut sometimes pushes you forward. So I can almost kind of convince myself that you're where you're meant to be, and it's okay. Don't beat yourself up. Where sometimes I maybe should beat myself up and give myself a bit of push to do the thing that I want to do. I don't know if any of this is making sense. But anyway, I had a nice talk to my dad the other day. We went for a coffee at lunchtime. I popped out of work and we had lunch together. We had a nice chat, and he basically said that he was proud of me, which is nice. I think it was a bit awkward for him to say because he's a man's man, and he just wanted to let me know that he was proud of where I am in life and stuff, and it was really lovely. It kind of sparked this thing in me that I as hard as we are ourselves sometimes, you are where you are. And if you had aspirations of being a mega movie star and you're not, if you tried, then that's great. If you didn't, then still try. There's time for everyone. There's literally time for everyone. And I'm trying a few ventures. I've got some stuff on the side. I'm trying to do a bit of writing, and um, I've got my book that I'm trying to do, or a couple of books I'm trying to do, and I'm trying to do my media stuff, and I'm doing the podcast, and I don't know whether that's going to take me, whether that suddenly becomes successful, whether some people start listening to this podcast and it takes off. It that really doesn't worry me. Got the band as well, and I've really enjoyed the whole process of like picking up the guitar again and singing, and I really really want to push that. I'd really like to really push my music, and again, if that's just me singing in a pub to some people that really enjoy what I'm doing and know what the band's doing, then that's fine by me. But I think for me, the main part of where all this comes from is I joined the railway, maybe had a bit of an easy in because my dad worked there, but I've got to where I am now just by, keeping my nose clean, going to work, and just showing up, and when it was needed, listening when it was needed to, talking. And I don't feel like it's been too much of an effort, but I suppose that in itself is the effort. That in itself is the key. It's just to keep showing up and keeping your nose clean and doing what you're told and going that extra mile sometimes and trying to be happy and nice to people. I think that goes a long way. And I hope that in all the jobs I've had that, people have people have thought, oh, he's good at his job, or, never ever messed up. I hope they realise that it was never intentional and that I've rectified any mistakes that I've ever made, whether it be taught to someone or anything like that. It sounds like a very counselling session, this, but I just wanted to. I was where I'm going with all this is I've got to where I am today, um, through a little bit of luck, but just perseverance, and you have to learn things in life. When you buy your own house, it's a massive thing. Um, and just learning that responsibility of learning to keep things going. And yeah, some of my dreams had to go maybe pushed to the side a little bit, because maybe I thought they weren't possible, or work got in the way, or I lost interest or lost hope. Um, but I think the biggest thing for me was when I started working full time. I owned a house. It was very much pressure of I'm the only one that can do this. I can't like stop work and blah 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 blah. Um, because obviously the responsibility of a house, where you actually have lots of time in the day. And if anyone's ever read Arnold Schwarzenegger's autobiography, he actually basically says like you sleep for 7 8 hours, you work maybe for 7 or 8 hours, you've still got like 8 or 9 hours in the day left, depending on how you break that down. Um, so that's a lot, It's a lot of time, really. And I think recent times it's got worse. I'm trying to reel myself back from that, and that's why I push this podcast and I put this podcast out there. But I'm also I'm not bothered about pushing it too much. I don't want to like spend all my hours when I'm not at my main job pushing social media content, which I probably should be doing if I want it to be a success. But I also need my own downtime, and some of that, because I have so many hobbies. Another reason I'll get back to that is in my brain I have so many things that I'd love to do, and then I can't fixate on one, and then I just don't want to do anything. And that's a big thing for me. I'm trying to really work on that. Is like if I've decided to like write some of my book, then I make a time for that. And I don't feel guilty about the things that I'm not then doing, be it housework or other tasks, or something like that. This is how I feel at the time, and I need to go and do that, or I've allocated time for that, and that's what I'm going to do. And I've talked about this before on the show about how my brain works, and it doesn't always work for me, um, like a lot of people. This is something that I'm learning, and it's taken me a while to get to this place. The only thing maybe I regret is I didn't get to this point like 15, 20 years ago. Um, who knows where I'd be now? Um, but you've got to grow as a person, and but the biggest thing is, what do you rate yourself on? How do you know you're successful? Um, because a lot of people rate success as money, and a lot of people rate success as the material items you have. And I think I'm extremely lucky, um, because at 41, I have a house with a smallish mortgage, to be fair, for my age. I have a car, I've got a motorcycle, I've got my collectibles, and then I'm so lucky to have my wife. I didn't mention her first, but I wasn't mentioning things in the order of importance. But my wife Sarah, I'm so lucky to have her, and I've got my dog. And when you look at the things collectively, yes, I'm not a millionaire, and I don't have maybe the life that ideally would like is like disposable income and time to travel. And when I'm going to try and make that time now, I think when I make that happen, the more and more I get into like a more comfortable place, more confident place as I get older, and these things become more easy. Well, they should do. Um, and I think we are our own blockers to things. So if you think you're not successful, but you're paying rent and you've got a job and you're holding a job down, then you are successful. There's just a scale like anything. And I would say on the very base level, if you're still alive and breathing and you haven't give up, you're still successful. Like, and that's a whole different topic of what happens when you hit rock bottom. But I think for me, if you're here on Earth and you're trying, and no matter what that trying is, then you're successful. Um, it just triggered me in my mind the other day when my dad basically said that to me. There's some stuff going on in personal life, and I'm not going to get into it, but I think he just felt that I needed that bit of an arm around me, and a bit that to be the thing that's not said to be said. Let's say, which I think I did need, to be honest. I'm not one that would seek appraisal from my parents or anyone really, um, but a bit of validation every so often does go a long way. Because I do try, I do try a lot, and I always try to be there for people, and it's hard. It's hard. I am in general, I would say, the person that people come to but I never really go to anyone. And it can be hard when it seems everything's one way. And I make that situation myself. And it's the same with work. Like, that's how I am with work. I push and push and push and never seem to get anything back out of it. Until the last couple of years. The last couple of years, I've really felt there's been a bit of a change career-wise. I'm enjoying what I'm doing. I'm seeing some active worth from my job, seeing results from my job, seeing feedback from my job, and it's been actually quite a pleasure. I've got that spark for work again, and that's also like sparked my personal projects as well, which is good. I think my job might not be my ideal job, but it's a good job. I think I'm good at it, and yeah, I like my job, which is quite lucky, really. I think people say like if you go to work and you enjoy what you do, it's not a job. No, I enjoy what I do. To be honest, it's not a chore for me. I'm reasonably well paid for what I do. I think, and yeah, I think the last couple of years of like probably lower stress levels, especially recently now, I've got used to my job a little bit. I think that, and I've got my first big project over at Christmas over the line, and I think that will really help me in my personal achievements and trying to like hone them now. So definitely with the podcast stuff and the video stuff, and I'm not making any promises though, because we're all human, and I don't want to put any pressure on myself. And as much as I kind of criticize probably like the next generation of people for basically trying to get that home work life balance and extract etc. And I think a lot of people do have pipe dreams of being like famous YouTubers and stuff, rather than actually thinking about what career do I need. I have to set up a pension and blah 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 blah. Um, we all do things our own way. Um, but success is measured on, I think especially today, is money, is what you have, what you're showing off, and it doesn't reflect right on social media. You on social media, it warps your reality of what success is. Like standing in front of a mirror trying clothes on, pranking people, reviewing products online. All these people that do these jobs. It's amazing that people are making money out of being sent products to review them, and millions of people watch them. I'm one of them people. I'm one of them people that watches content creators create these contents, but it's not real. And I think too many people have got that reality warped about what is actually real and what is achievable. But then, you, I've got so much to say on this subject. I'm trying to be concise, and it's really difficult for me. I think the biggest thing is how then you measure your own success if you're not doing what you want to do, and how would you push for that if you think it's even possible? And I'd say that I would personally say don't not push for that, but you've also got to live in reality and think that a small number of people probably actually do what they want to do, and it's probably honing a talent. I think that's probably the thing over the years that I've thought myself many times that probably again due to my attention span and having so many interests, I've never really become an expert of anything. My actual full time job, people would probably class me as an expert in, which is kind of cool. But then in my personal life, with my musical instrument playing, which has slid off, from what I used to be, quite considerably. That's probably where I was like peak when I was late teens, and it's just slowly dropped off. And who knows what I'd been if I carried on from that point. But I don't regret anything. It might come across that I'm regretful and I'm picking on people or whatever. But I just think that you don't always see it when you're in it, and I just think that I'm grateful, and I think I am successful on a scale. Um, and I just don't want people to cloud that view of success. Um, and everyone should be proud of themselves if they're out there doing something and holding their job down and paying rent, and whether you're living with your parents, living alone, friends, house sharing, no matter what, you're out there doing something, and take them opportunities and grasp them, and if something falls down and goes down to the wayside, hopefully you'll loop around at some point and get back on that train. Pun intended. I just think that's where I feel like I'm at the moment. I feel like I'm successful, quite stable, and I think this is the time to go out and expand on them other things that when I was growing up I thought were unobtainable, easy for me to say, and maybe pursue them a little bit. Whether I'm 41 or not, it doesn't matter. Yeah, I don't know if I even answered my own question there really. But yeah, that was my thoughts on success and how I am, and um, my view of my own success. But it was nice to have a bit of a praise off my dad. It choked me up a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. But it was nice. It again, you don't need to hear it, but it's nice to. So I'm gonna leave it there. What are your thoughts on this? What do you think is successful? Are you successful? Are you trying to pursue one of these like finite kind of narrow careers where you might spark and die, or you might blow up and have a long career in e-media, or whatever it may be, trying to launch your own business? Let me know in the comments. And just remember, you are successful. If you're listening to this, you're successful. So until next time, remember to keep prattling.
You've been listening to
Infinite Prattle!
Thanks for listening. If you like this episode, go back and listen to some others. And please continue to listening. Your support is muchly appreciated. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe. And I'll speak to you all again soon. Take care.